Hello and welcome to Pixel Street Podcast, episode 58 for Friday, May 3rd, 2019. My name is Joel Campos, and as always, I'm joined with the man who asked for nothing but Borderlands 3 gameplay for his birthday, John Hansen.
Yeah, apparently that's all I'm getting. Gee, man, that sucks. I don't care about Borderlands 3. Why am I getting that on my birthday? Give me
It's what you asked
Left
for.
4 Dead 3 is what I asked for. You know what? I've been asking for that for almost a decade now. Okay, can we get this? Valve, what you doing? Steam, come on.
What do you think you're going to get first, Left 4 Dead 3 or Half-Life 3?
Oh, Left 4 Dead 3. If anything, I'm going with, what's that game Turtle Rock's making? Back 4 Blood or something.
Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, I mean that. If that's close enough, I'm fine with that. So, here we go. Let's just give me that. I'm cool with that.
And also today we have a third host on the show, Connor Copp. Is that how you say your last name?
Yep, that's it. Copp.
It's with 2 P's. In case you were wondering, that's why I didn't know.
Yeah, I won't be arresting anybody today.
Just don't trust him.
Connor, what's your favorite game series of all time?
Oh, man. Just hit me with the big questions here. If I had to name one of my favorite games of all time, it's got to be Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. The old BioWare series back on the original Xbox. That's probably it. Played those games way too much. And no, I don't want to talk about it.
I own them. I've just never played them.
I'm also never going to get a third one of those either, so I'm right there with you, John.
I think one of those are on Game Pass now, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I've never been a huge Star Wars fan. I've played a couple games, but that's one that I always hear is like top of the line. So at some point, maybe I'll download it and give it a try.
Not a bad idea. They're very solid RPGs.
All right, but if you want to hear more about Connor playing KOTOR, which I'm sure he'll be doing again at some point when he's on the show with us talking about it, you can find our podcast on most podcast platforms on Fridays, as well as on YouTube by searching Almost Random there. You can now watch the show directly on our Facebook group by searching for Pixel Street Podcast. Send us in topics, pixelstreetpodcast@gmail.com. I don't know. We actually have a topic from somebody. Was it on Twitter, John?
It was on Facebook.
Facebook? You see, I'm so glad I posted that now. Yep. I wasn't going to post it because I noticed you didn't. This week we're going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog's questionable movie trailer.
I think that's a good word for it. Questionable.
Epic buying Psyonix, which is pretty huge news, and the Borderlands reveal stream, along with some other goodies in there. Let's go into this list. Connor, what we do is we go in this list on vgreleaselist.com, and we just go through the games that are coming out between the day the podcast airs, which is Friday, May 3rd, and the following Thursday, and we just see what we like out of it. And I'll give you a hint that there's a lot that we don't even talk about.
Yeah, a lot of indie stuff that we've never really heard of, but we kind of like to see just anything in here that really just stands out to us. Like even if we don't plan on playing it, like just kind of notable stuff to talk about. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm scrolling through this list and I see 0 games I even want to click on.
All right, here you go. Next Friday, May 10th. I guess this could actually go in next week's, but just so we have something to talk about today, Saints Row the Third is coming to the Switch. So,
but the funny thing is we talked about that last week.
We did. Oh man, there's just nothing the next week. I mean,
the next few weeks there's really nothing.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna.
Oh, we got Rage 2 coming May 14th, which is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Yakuza Kiwami 2 is coming on May 9th as well. That might be a notable one. Yakuza game is always pretty good.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
It's not bad. And with Judgment coming up here pretty soon, pretty stoked.
All right, so to someone who has never played a Yakuza game, has really never looked at anything, explain Yakuza, like just how it plays.
You ever play Shenmue back in the day?
I know what Shenmue is.
Okay. It honestly kind of lives in that spiritual successor position for Shenmue, where you're really just going around fighting bad guys, you're collecting all kinds of nonsense and just It's kind of like a Eastern Grand Theft Auto almost, just a little more focused, a little smaller. It's very hand-to-hand heavy, usually very story-focused. They're relatively enjoyable, generally very wacky as well. Things get pretty weird. Not Saints Row weird, but pretty weird nonetheless.
All right.
Are those games anything like True Crime?
You know what? Yeah, I would say that's a pretty apt comparison. That's not bad. Yeah,
Because
definitely.
I played the shit out of True Crime on my GameCube back in the day.
I played the first one a lot. Streets of LA, I think it was.
Yeah,
And
that's
New
the
York
only one
was
I
the
played.
second one. Yeah. No, those games were good. Not gonna lie, you just totally blew my mind with saying that Shenmue had fighting in it, because I totally thought it was a game just about like balancing books and not moving or something, and you just blew my mind that there's actually more to it.
Yeah, it's definitely not a big part of it, so you're not missing out on much.
All right, so yeah, for any Yakuza, is there anything special with it being Kiwami?
It's basically just a remaster, if I'm not mistaken, of one of the originals. I do believe that's the second in the series.
Gotcha.
So.
All right, cool.
You know what I always say? If there's one thing we need, it's more remasters.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into the free games of the month. John, you want to take the games with gold?
Yeah, so for the month of May, well, carrying over from the month of April, we have Outcast Second Contact on Xbox One that is available until May 15th. And before I go on, let me say that I started this game. This is awful. It's it's not a good game. Like, I started it within 2 minutes of just hearing the starting dialogue. I was going, oh no. Oh no. It looks and it sounds like it's a game made from like early 360 PS3 days, maybe even like dipping into original Xbox PS2, and it's just, admittedly I didn't play more than like 10 minutes of it, but oh boy, it did not make a good first impression. Okay, and then starting today on the Xbox One, we have Marooners, which I haven't played yet, but looking at it, looked like a little party game. Looked like it was really geared towards kids. Definitely something I will try and get my daughter to play with me, and I'll report on that next week, see what it is. May 16th through June 15th, we have the Golf Club 2019. I believe Connor was saying it was also featuring PGA Tour. So for the two people that were viciously shouting at Xbox to give them a free golf game, there you go. Today on 360, also backwards compatible on Xbox One, is Earth Defense Force. That is good until the 15th. And then starting on May 16th through the 31st, it's Comic Jumper, which honestly I haven't heard of.
Sounds like a whole lot of nothing to me. Let's go on to the games coming with Xbox Game Pass. And then Connor's going to take us to PlayStation games of the month, of PS Plus games. So I just thought this was worth noting for Xbox Game Pass because there's some pretty big games in here coming in the month of May. I don't think they put a firm date on them yet.
Some of them.
Do. Yeah, so tomorrow, I guess the day before this podcast airs, on May 2nd, you will have Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, Wargroove. And then on May 7th, you have Descenders 1.0. May 9th, you have Surviving Mars, Tacoma, and Black Desert. May 10th, you will have For the King, which I believe comes out the day it releases. Or
actually,
3 days before it releases.
Yeah, it's coming to Game Pass 3 days before it actually launches on the store.
That's an interesting move. And then on May 16th, you have The Surge and Lego Batman 3. So yeah, there's some pretty big games coming to Xbox Game Pass this month.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, these are...
Definitely starting off there with Wolfenstein 2. Like, that was one of the most popular games of 2017, I believe was when it came out. And
yeah,
that's actually a huge get for Xbox. Tacoma is definitely one that I've been waiting to come to Game Pass to try, so I'm excited to see that. Lego Batman 3 is also regarded as like one of the best Lego games, so if you got a kid, definitely boot that up for free. Like, that's gonna be a very good game. Not gonna lie, kind of mad that Black Desert is on here because it like just came out in February and I bought it. And
my Game Pass buddy or my Game Share buddy bought it as well. So I'm sure he's not. I haven't talked to him about it yet, but I'm sure he's not thrilled.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, these titles are pretty solid for this coming month here. Wargroove I'll be talking about a little bit later when we talk about what we're playing. That one's pretty fun. And Descenders is one of the big titles they showed at E3 last year, so it's nice to see that come to light finally. And Surviving Mars I've heard a lot of good things about too, but you guys are definitely right on the other titles.
Yeah, can't say I remember anything on Surviving Mars or Descenders. Where was it shown at?
Descenders was E3 last year.
Okay. Oh, was it like not during a conference? It was just shown off on the floor?
Yeah, it was like a sizzle reel, if I'm not mistaken, for Game Pass. It might have been like a pre-show thing.
Gotcha.
Certainly wasn't a huge thing, but it looks interesting. Some cool physics funs there.
All right, so if I saw it, I would probably recognize it. But no, the very, very good month, I would say, for Game Pass with how bad the games with gold lineup is. But, I mean, that's just further showing just how Game Pass is the best deal in gaming right now. So...
yeah, a lot to look forward to if you have Xbox Game Pass. Moving on to the PlayStation front, Connor, do you want to tell us about the PlayStation Plus games coming in May?
Yeah, absolutely. So up until May 7th, you still have your chance to grab Conan Exiles and The Surge. Surge is kind of a Dark Souls-esque futuristic style game. Conan Exiles, either of you guys played that one at all?
I have not.
Yeah, I haven't put any time into that one. I've heard it's a pretty decent kind of... survival MMO. And then for the actual month of May, the new titles that'll kick off on the 7th are going to be Overcooked and What Remains of Edith Finch. And if you haven't played Overcooked, let me tell you, that's some Mario Party levels of rip your hair out. It's stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll make you hate your peers.
Unfortunately,
sure.
The first one is local multiplayer only, though. And that's what you're going to be getting here. So definitely play it with other people. That's definitely where the game shines its brightest.
For sure.
Yeah, I bought that game on Xbox specifically to play with other people in my living room, and never beat it.
Yeah, I bought it
Still
not
salty
knowing
about
that
it.
it was only local multiplayer. And then I'm like, oh, great. But then I picked up 2, and that one has the online multiplayer, so it's still just a great game. What Remains of Edith Finch, I think I was talking about this game about a month or 2 ago on here, how that's actually on Game Pass right now, and I've never been a big fan of like walking simulator games. Like Gone Home, I hated, like it was so boring and everything. What Remains of Edith Finch is really interesting, and I definitely recommend giving it a try, especially since it's free.
Is this another one that takes like 2 hours to beat?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
2
cool.
hours tops.
Cool, I could definitely get down with that. Moving on, the Twitch Prime games for May of 2019 are a bunch of games I've never heard of. I don't know if you guys have. First up, we have The Little Acre, Whispering Willows, Stealth Bastard Deluxe. That game sounds awesome. And Majesty Collection. And also, we are going to keep reminding you that you can get 12 months of Nintendo Online for free if you have Twitch Prime from March 28th until September 24th. Let's get into what we've been playing. Connor, you're new. We'll let you go first.
Hey,
and because I want to hear about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so I'll dive into the other 2 titles, and I'll save Mortal Kombat for last, as that's the one that I've been playing the most recently. Donut County. Fun little game. I beat that one pretty recently. It's kind of like a reverse Katamari, if you've ever played Katamari. So instead of like collecting things, you start out as a little hole in the ground, and you kind of control this hole, and you have to pick up different items and solve little puzzles as you go through. So maybe you have to pick up a few bottles or something so that you can pick up a keg that drops a board, that drops the people off of the board. It's got some very interesting little, I guess, side puzzles that don't engulf you too much. It doesn't take up a ton of playtime to solve these things. It's kind of a jump in, jump out sort of thing. Very, very solid little game. Pick that one up on mobile, but I do believe it's available on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation as well. Definitely recommend that one, and had a ton of fun with it. The other
Is Donut County?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, so just to let you know, we rotate each.
Yeah,
game?
we just do one
Sure.
at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
So then, Donut County, is there a sequel out for that, or is that just the first one?
I do believe that's the first one. It came out not too long ago. It's a pretty indie title, but
Yeah,
definitely worth looking at.
I know I wanted to try it out, but I didn't think it was on Xbox. Is it?
It is.
It's on
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
cool.
I want to say it's like $10, something like that.
Yeah, I picked it up on
pick it
mobile
up.
as it's much, much cheaper on there. I think it's like $3, and it's a game that you can beat in an hour and a half, 2 hours if you're playing all the way through. Certainly not a long one, so I think the best value proposition's on mobile.
Gotcha.
Yeah, part of me wants to wait. I have a feeling that'll be a Game Pass game in the near future.
Yeah, or even if it just went on sale for like $5, it sounds like it'd be worth it because I've only heard good things about it. And
Yeah, same here.
like you were saying, it's kind of in the same vein of Katamari games, which are always just addicting games. They're just off the wall, crazy but fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all kind of wacky, zany stuff that I don't want to give you too much on the story, but you actually play as a raccoon with a tablet, and the tablet controls the whole. And that's probably as much as you need to know that this game is absolutely wacky. It's zany and it's super fun.
I am down for that.
I also think it's cool that you have such a glowing review of it here, even having played it on your phone. Because I heard everybody I've heard talk about it has all played it on PS4 or PC or Xbox.
I want to say phone is where it started.
That sounds about right.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But either way, the fact that they were able to take something that's, was a mobile game and make it just as good on a console, like on a big screen, is pretty cool.
And maybe like even more popular on console because, like you were saying, where you hear the talk on that game is usually on Xbox or PS4. Just random channels or something talk about, hey, yeah, I played this little indie game and it's a lot of fun. And really, you never see that, especially a game coming from mobile to console.
I have a feeling, wasn't Angry Birds brought to console at some point?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
It was probably terrible.
I got it for my brother. It was passable. I mean, there was a Kinect functionality with it that would never work, but if you played with a controller, it was decent.
Angry Birds Trilogy, Xbox 360, $43.32 on Amazon.
It is a rarer game.
Interesting, very interesting. Man, remember Angry Birds, guys?
Didn't they just announce an AR game for that?
Really?
Yeah. I think I just saw something on that recently. I didn't look into it or anything, but I was thinking, oh man, that's actually a pretty cool idea because augmented reality is just a better gaming platform than virtual reality. Fight me.
You are absolutely right. I will back up that claim.
All right, Joel, what have you been playing?
MLB The Show, John.
Oh,
me and you both.
Boy, we've been playing MLB The Show.
I'm still loving it, man. I've been diving deeper into the Road to the Show mode, which is like the single player. You create your player and you make your way up in the ranks based on how you perform. I just recently went from being in the White Sox AA farm team to the AAA. So yeah, moving on up. Hopefully I can make the MLB pretty soon because I mean, I don't know. I don't want to just keep playing in AAA,
Yeah. How far into the season are you, though?
That's the thing. I don't even know.
Oh, it doesn't really tell you?
No, it does, but I just don't pay attention.
Gotcha.
Because it's something I play while I'm watching Netflix or something in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So I just literally just keep hitting play next appearance. Then it just takes me into the next game. And once you get into a series, like the first game in, say, like a 3 or 4 game series, once that game ends and you play all of your created characters, like moments within the game, then you can literally just click from that menu, play next, start next game, and it'll just start the next game without backing out into the menu.
All right, that's cool. It's
so easy just to keep going through the season.
That's cool. That's something that I still have to get around to trying. I'm just still on franchise mode. Like I just got past the All-Star break, and I'm just playing whenever the Cardinals are playing. I just I have MLB at Bat on my phone. I just put on the radio and I listen to it while I'm playing, and it's just perfect for that kind of stuff. And I mean, it's just also just a great baseball game. So if you want to put your full attention into it, it's great for that as well. It just works.
Yeah, it's a great game. I want to say I definitely passed the All-Star break, so I'm probably like 2 or 3 weeks past the All-Star break, because my guy made like the AA All-Star team. If that, I don't even know if that's a real thing in real life. I'm sure it is. But yeah, I definitely played that. But yeah, I'm just loving the game. I have not touched franchise mode yet. I want to, but I don't know, man. Playing a full game takes a long time.
It does, but that's why I'm like, it's perfect just to listen to my Cardinals games while I'm playing it, because the game, they say on the menu that a full game takes generally about 45 minutes. So I get at least like 2 or 3 in if I'm just sitting there the whole time just listening to the Cardinals games. Or if you want, you can go into quick manage mode, which says it takes about 5 minutes, but it's actually like 2 or 3, because all you have to do is for every single batter that's up, if you're batting, you say, try and go for a hit or try and take a walk, and it will instantly tell you.
It doesn't sound fun.
No, it's not, but it gets the game by fast, and you still have it's simulating, but you still have a chance to make decisions. You can change up the lineup how you want and put people in. Where simulating it, the computer just does all that for you. And actually, simulating, I've had like so many of my players get hurt that I'm just like kind of against it now. Like I lost my shortstop for the year. I lost 2 of my outfielders for like a month. I was just like, nope, no more. I'll just do quick manage and just keep a good eye on everything. But yeah, otherwise I love franchise mode. I think I've said it probably 50 times on here though, but I've never really had a good baseball game since my PS2 days of playing the show games. So I'm just super excited for this game.
Yeah, this is a huge upgrade too, for you at least.
Oh yeah,
from a PS2 game.
Ginormous.
But yeah, the show, it's great every year. Like I've been buying them. Let's see. The first one I bought, I think, was 15. Well, not since the PS2 days. I never bought them on PS3, but I bought MLB 15. And I've been buying them every year since, and it just gets better every year. I've never bought one and regretted it.
And that's the thing. Usually with sports games, they're just like I have friends that are really into Madden games, and I would play them, and we would set up our own leagues and everything, and those kind of games, like I'm like, okay, I can get this once a year, but that's not going to be a big enough change for me to get it the next year. I like to wait at least 3 or 4 years to get another one. But this one, I mean, it just works so well. I would like to see it kind of go on like a games with service thing, where just every year it does just update itself, or maybe you just pay like $30 for it.
I thought that they were going to do that like 6 years ago or something. I had that idea. I was like, why doesn't Madden just call the game Madden, and every year you pay like $20 to get the new rosters,
right? Like you would,
like for like 4 years, like for 4 years in a row. Say you buy Madden 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
At $60, like that's fine. But then like when they release that, they say like, all right, the game mechanics are not going to change for the next 4 years, but you have to pay us $30 every year to get like the new rosters. I think that'd be a reasonable way of going about it. But if they just sell every copy at $60 every year, they're still going to make their money.
Oh yeah, I mean those are always
people are still buying it.
That and FIFA are always EA's biggest money makers, so they're still getting their money. It's just as a consumer, I think it would be better to have that yearly update.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Connor, what else you got?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I am not a sports fan at all, so I totally tuned out everything you guys said, but that's okay. That's
we
totally
can say
fine.
it again if you want.
Yeah.
Oh
nice
yeah, definitely not actually.
slow.
If you could never speak about that. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah. So the next game I got on my list is Wargroove. Wargroove, I think, is available on Nintendo Switch. It's coming to Xbox Game Pass next month, and I'm not sure if it's available on PlayStation or not. But it's a game that's very reminiscent of Advance Wars. or like a Fire Emblem style, kind of a classic Fire Emblem. It's a turn-based tactics RPG game where you're playing through different maps and fighting different varying enemy factions. But it's got some very interesting mechanics that it kind of mixes up the styles of those games with. For instance, every character has a specific critical hit path that by completing a certain action, you're guaranteed a critical hit. So instead of just kind of chalking that up to chance, say for instance, like your knight who's on a horse, his critical hit path is you have to move the full range of spaces to get a critical hit. So you kind of keep him towards the back of the pack and move him directly to the enemy and strike with that critical hit, which is really cool. Or archers, they have to stay in the same spot through the turn, and then they get a critical hit on their next attack. It's very interesting. It kind of varies the gameplay very heavily from some of those other tactics style games in the past, and I think it does it very well. Haven't beat the game yet, so I couldn't tell you what I think on the full campaign, but what I've played so far has been very fun. I'm playing it on my Switch, personally. I think it's a great mobile game, but it's very, very good. Scratches that tactics itch while I'm waiting for the next Fire Emblem game to release, so big shout-outs to my guys out there. Yeah, definitely want to be on the lookout for, especially with it coming to Game Pass next month. I think it's something to try out, especially for free. I mean, if you have Game Pass, download it, give it a shot, see what you think.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. I heard a lot about this when it first came to Switch, and I never was I never played Advance Wars. Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never played that. I've never played Fire Emblem. Just really tactical games like that. Just generally, they don't really grab me. Something more like Warcraft 3 and Halo Wars, they kind of do, but it's very hit and miss there. So I've heard good things about this. I'll definitely give it a try when it hits Game Pass, because, I mean, why not? It's Game Pass. But yeah, just from what I've seen of the game, it looks like it was just made perfectly for the Switch.
Yeah, it's definitely a phenomenal mobile game. Just taking it on the go is definitely the best use case. There was a lot of complaints when it released around the difficulty, it just being incredibly hard as it progressed through, but they added multiple difficulty modes to it now, rehashed some of the stuff that people were complaining about, and honestly, it's in the best place it's been since launch, and it's very accessible and open for anybody to pick up. Definitely something to be on the lookout for. So
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out when it comes out. I've heard a lot about it recently, and I did look it up, and it is in fact on PS4 as well.
Oh,
as
awesome.
Xbox and PC.
Yeah, definitely. Check it out wherever you can get it. It's real fun. Really cool art style too. Definitely a big fan of the art style. Kind of throws back to that Game Boy Advance era of that pseudo kind of high-res 8-bit. It's very, very cool. So that's all I got on that one. Joel, what else are you playing?
I just this past weekend started playing Halo the Master Chief Collection again. Halo, I don't know if you know, Connor, but it's my favorite game franchise of all time.
Hey, good choice.
It's what really made me like a diehard gamer, I guess I would say. So yeah, I've been hopping back into Halo Master Chief Collection. Been playing like the Halo 3 playlist on there, just because, I don't know. I think Halo 2 is my favorite all time, but I think Halo 3 might be a close second. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Halo 3 on there, and me and my coworker actually signed up for a Halo 3 tournament at a Microsoft store here in Chicago, coming up on May 18th. So, and they actually have on Master Chief Collection a playlist specifically for those tournaments that they're holding at Microsoft stores.
Wow.
Which is cool. So like we just go into matchmaking and we do 2v2 with all the settings that are going to be in the tournament, which I thought is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's super awesome to see them kind of keeping the Halo franchise alive while we wait on Infinite. Definitely one of my favorite franchises too. Cool to see somebody else picking it up.
They've been holding these Halo 3 tournaments at the Microsoft stores for a few months now. I think like every 3 weeks they've been doing them. And I guess this is the last one coming up. He just did one last weekend, I think. And he told me I should do it. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. Let's go. So that's coming up on May 18th. I'm going to play in that. We're probably going to lose, but who cares? It'll be fun either way. Maybe I'll record some video or something. But yeah, and then I've been playing it a lot before. Like I started before I decided I was going to do that tournament because I really just can't wait for them to add Reach to the game. Like I loved Halo Reach multiplayer, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun to play once it comes out.
Oh, absolutely. I just saw they threw out a whole new dev blog too. They've done a really good job of communicating with fans and letting them know where they're at in the process. And we're getting pretty close to them launching the PC alpha, if I'm not mistaken, too, which would be great to have the Halo games back on PC. Super, super excited for that. So do you know if we have a date at all on when Reach is supposed to come around?
So the closest thing we had is that I think one of the devs tweeted like at the beginning of the month, the beginning of April, saying like, hey, it's April. If all things go according to plan, then what is it? Reach will be available for insiders, which I am an insider for Halo, which means you just get to test it early for them and give them feedback. And he actually tweeted yesterday, he's like, hey, this isn't happening. We're behind. Sorry. So, yeah, it was supposed to be before the end of April, but now it got pushed back. So I'd assume end of May at the latest.
Well, you can definitely count me in for when that launches. I'm super stoked for Halo to come back to PC. There was a community mod going around a little while ago that was called El Dorito for Halo Online that basically had a big Halo server, custom server up on there, and I played a ton of that. Unfortunately, it did get taken down through a DCMA request. Which
was for Halo 1?
No, it was just a big community mod that they put out. It was like a conversion mod for Halo Online, which was a Russian-only game that didn't even make it out of alpha, if I'm not mistaken.
What?
It was, yep. It's kind of like, you ever heard of Call of Duty Online, where it's a Chinese release. They put it out over there as just a thing to get into that market since they can't put the actual games out there. Microsoft tried something very similar with Halo in the Russian market. Never even made it to a full launch. Somebody got a hold of those files, converted everything and translated everything to English, and actually wrote full server code and got it running here in the States. And you just downloaded the mod for it, downloaded the packets and everything, and it was fantastic. It was some of the most fun I've had.
Yeah. Oh, these are from last year. I see. Because I went to the El Dorito. I don't know how you say
El
that. El Dorito website, and they have posts from a year ago.
Yeah.
Like it still lets you download it, apparently.
So I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that you can get those files still. However, they're locked to being used only when you're connected to the server. And being that the servers are gone now, from my understanding, it's all pretty useless at this point. I think they just abandoned everything. So
they just made a post a month ago saying that they met with 343. I don't know what it's a really long post. I'm not trying to read it all right now. Okay, what we're doing now. What any group of Halo modders and reverse engineers would do. Continue to mod and reverse engineer Halo. Regardless of the future of MCC on PC, the team isn't going anywhere. We've never stopped reverse engineering the game, engine, and resources. Since last April, we've learned so much and have been able to do some incredible things, some of which were thought to be impossible, and you will be seeing some of this work in the near future in the form of an update. So, I don't know. It seems like they're still trying to get up and running.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that sounds just like legal hell. But more power to them, you know. They did some fantastic work. Like I said, it ran incredibly smooth for a community mod. It played just like you expect Halo to play, just on PC, and I had an absolute blast with it, so I'll certainly be tuning in to see if they come up with anything good.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. But either way, MCC coming to PC, I'll be all over it. Even though I'll probably still mainly be playing on my Xbox.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely be in the same boat. Halo's at its best when it's on the Xbox, but having the option's nice. So
yeah, it'll be nice for me to play at work on my lunch break. John, what else have you been playing?
Oh boy, let me tell you how good of a game Devil May Cry 2 is.
It's not good from what your Twitter account tells me.
It's not good. It's not good at all. Okay, it's not the worst game. But so Connor, you probably don't know this, but Devil May Cry 5 came out. A lot of people are excited about it. I've never played any of the Devil May Cry games before. So
it's funny. I'm in the same exact boat as you, so I can kind of live vicariously through your experience. So give me what you got.
All right, so yeah, I grabbed the HD remaster of the first 3 games. I beat the first one within a few weeks, and it was okay. It kind of had its moments where it was like, okay, this isn't great design, but it's a PS2 game that was brought back to Xbox One and PS4, so I enjoyed it. Devil May Cry 2, though, first off, okay, so the game is like really centered around getting your stylish rank up, which is just kind of getting the biggest combos you can during a fight. Just kind of nonstop, keep putting damage out, don't get hit, don't miss anything, and all that stuff. Doesn't really change the game or anything. It might change your ranking at the end of the level, kind of like Resident Evil does. Besides that, though, it is not huge. So I was talking about this with Joel, I think, last week, where the boss fights at the beginning of Devil May Cry 2, I could just stand there and just spam my pistol fire into them, because you have your sword or just your dual pistols. And every single boss fight, there's probably, there was 15 chapters in the game, I think. So there was probably about 11 or 12 bosses. Might be a little less, but every single boss fight was the exact same. I would stand still, maybe jump to avoid something, and just keep shooting at them with my pistols until I beat them. And
yeah, I think I actually caught one of your clips on Xbox where you just spent the entire time, probably a good 3 minutes or so, firing nonstop, and you would hop every 20 seconds, and it seemed laughably easy.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, all you have to do is just upgrade your pistols and you were good. Like, even just all the enemies on there. So, I kind of have been going into this franchise just blind. Like, I haven't really looked up any reviews on any of the games. Not looking up any, like, guides or anything. After I put on Twitter that I beat DMC2, and I was like, man, that wasn't great. And, like, I beat... There's 2 different stories to it. There's Dante, and then there was a girl whose name I think was Lucia, something like that. And she essentially has the same story. You just run through the same missions. But there's like a few changes here and there. And after I put that on there, I really started hearing from people. They're like, oh, you actually finished it? Oh, you played through that? I'm like, oh, yeah, I did. It's not Sonic 06 levels of bad, but it's not great. I'm planning here in the next week to start DMC3, and I've heard good things about that, and hopefully that's a better story I have to tell next week.
All right. Sorry, I was zoning out a little bit. I was checking Twitter. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what you think of the series as a whole once you're done. But I have a feeling that Devil May Cry 5 might boost that up a bit based on what everybody thinks of the game.
Yeah, taking a look at the wiki page, actually, just so I can have something relevant to say. It looks like Devil May Cry 2 was created by an entirely different team at the time. It wasn't even created by the original team. And from the reception, it doesn't look like it was very good, or very well received at the time, rather. GameSpot gave it a 6.4 out of 10, which back in the day was pretty low.
Yeah, no, they were giving out like 9s and 10s to everyone back then. Yeah, and really, if I had to give it a score, probably say about 4 or 5. It's just a very mediocre game. There's just not much to it.
Do you think that it carries the story forward in any meaningful way, or is it just kind of a love or leave it kind of thing?
No. It really is just... So, the story is Dante, the main character. He's the son of this demon named Sparta, but he was a good demon, I guess. He like would fight other demons. So Dante's half demon, half human. He can use what's called the devil trigger abilities, which makes him like go full demon, and he's like super powered up. He regains health as he's fighting and everything. Pretty cool stuff. The first one revolved around this girl Trish, like leading him to an area to fight this really bad demon. And then like there was this whole like love thing. Trish isn't even in the second game here, and it seems that Dante is just kind of just lone wandering and happens to run into this Lucia girl who is also part demon, but she was only made part demon by this evil business overlord guy. You know, it's really hard to explain because it doesn't make sense at all when I explain the whole thing. But really all I can say is these are very early 2000s games. Like the story, the writing, all of that was not the focus. It wasn't their strong suit. It's definitely got its moments where you're like, oh boy, this just seeing stuff like this is really taking me back. Like Connor, I really want you to just like go on YouTube or something at some point and just like type in like Devil May Cry 1 like opening, or the just like the opening to the game, and you'll be like, oh, because it's got like this hard rock thing going, and it's got it feels like it was made for Blade. You know, the Wesley Snipes movie. It feels like that. It's really odd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting on a copy of Devil May Cry 5 right now, and it'd be interesting to see some comparison. So I think I might just do that.
All right,
moving on, Connor. I've been patient this whole time. Tell me about Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 11. Let me set up a little background here. Mortal Kombat X, I really, really loved. I thought it was a very well done game. Everything played out very well. The crypt was great. Just all around a very good experience. MK11, getting into it, everything around the game just isn't very compelling, which is a bummer. And it's not even that the content is necessarily bad. It's just that some systems and items keep you from enjoying that stuff to its fullest extent. And that's definitely a bummer because the game itself plays fantastically. I completed the story mode recently, and I thought the story was great. It carried it forward in a very meaningful manner. I really felt kind of drawn into the story. And mind you, I haven't played a ton of Mortal Kombat, so being able to just pick it up and jump in at any point and understand what was happening was definitely awesome. So the combat itself is great, story mode great, and then you get into the other stuff. So there's the crypt. Have either of you guys played Mortal Kombats before?
Yeah,
I played a little bit of 10, but
okay.
I've only been playing the story.
Yeah, right on. So the crypt is kind of an area that in X, it was a first-person mode where you got to walk around and check things out and open these different chests and stuff in order to get loot. Now, the great thing about X is that all of the loot in the crypt was specifically made so that you could go to a certain area and get a specific item. So let's say I wanted a really cool skin for Scorpion or something. I could look up a map and find out exactly where to find that skin, go grab it, and that was it. That was done. I just had to worry about getting the coins. In 11, they changed it up so that everything is entirely random. They also switched to a third-person perspective, which is super cool. It's just got this really weird like field of view effect on it that's very disorienting, and I wish they would remove that, but that's more of a personal gripe. But the randomized loot kind of turns you off of it because there's so many boxes and the crypt is so huge. You feel like you're just opening loot boxes, and it's almost like, you know, why am I wasting my time with this when I could just open these on the home screen or something, if that was an option, of course. Other than that, I mean, I really want to enjoy the crypt and I want to run around in it. And people have actually complained a lot about the economy, and they actually just put out an update recently, giving all players 500,000 coins, I think 1,000 souls, and 500 hearts, which are the 3 different currencies used inside the crypt in order to open chests. And that's great, but still no word on balancing the economy or changing the other mode in the game, which is the towers. Towers in Mortal Kombat are kind of these almost dungeons, for lack of a better term, that you progress through. And you fight progressively harder enemies, or at least that's the idea. But the problem is, this time around, they've added modifiers. Have you guys ever played the Test Your Luck modes in Mortal Kombat before?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so the Test Your Luck modes kind of add these different modifiers to the game. Like, for instance, you'll kind of roll the dice when you're fighting. It's very arcadey. Maybe it'll shoot sleep darts every once in a while, and if you don't dodge the sleep dart, it'll put your character to sleep for like 3 seconds, which opens up some attacks from your enemy, or maybe fireballs will rain from the sky. Now, they added these modifiers to the Towers of Time mode, which is very similar to Injustice 2's Realms mode, where it just randomizes things throughout the week. You can complete different towers for different rewards, which is awesome, and I love having that content. But the problem is that they add all these modifiers so that you have to get consumables in order to kind of pass them. They're almost unplayable without having these consumables. Now, you can get these consumables from the crypt, but again, it's random. You can also buy these consumables, which is not
of course.
a great system exactly. Now, the store is actually another problem in and of itself. The store rotates every day, and from my understanding, it doesn't have a lot of items on that storefront, and because it rotates so quickly, or I think it's once a day, I don't know, I might be wrong on that one, but it rotates. You often don't have a chance to get anything from the crypt, or from the store rather, and if you do, the things that you're given a chance to get are just not what you want. There's so many different consumables and items in the game. There's these power gems. There's just so much going on that kind of detracts from the rest of the experience, and it kind of forces you into that microtransaction model of wanting to buy things, but sometimes even the things that you want to buy, which ideally as a developer, you want people to want to buy things, but the problem here is that the microtransaction model is just not even good. It's just really bad. So buying things is harassing and just not fun, and it really just detracts from a great experience. It's definitely a bummer. Great fighting game if that's what you're picking it up for, but the stuff around the edges, very, very painful experience. They have said that they're working on it, that they're trying to find a good way to balance the Towers of Time and making it a more meaningful experience, but we just haven't seen anything from them on that yet. So definitely one to check back in with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, pretty much what you're saying is what everyone who's played the game has been saying. I haven't given Mortal Kombat 11 a try yet, but I was really into Mortal Kombat 9, really into 10, and just because of money, I haven't really given 11 a try yet, but it does kind of sound like a game that the core game there is great, and I'll ask you some questions here in a second about it, but just like the stuff around it just kind of makes it seem like you might want to wait just a little bit to get it if you haven't already, just so they kind of get all of the kinks ironed out. Credit to Ed Boon and NetherRealm. They were pretty much instantly, as soon as people started complaining about all this, they pretty much came out and said, yeah, we're working on it, we'll fix everything. With this kind of stuff, though, it kind of seems like it was a Warner Brothers decision, like with loot boxes or the microtransactions and everything. That's more of a publisher kind of thing. So I wonder, just like, I don't know, just somewhere there they just tampered with the game maybe too much. As we know, Warner Brothers has done before with Middle-earth Shadow of War. Like, they had to just completely take down that whole entire microtransaction system. But just focusing on the gameplay itself, for someone who did play 10, and I think 10 is my favorite Mortal Kombat ever, would you say 11 is a good progression of just the gameplay, or is it better? Like, what would you say on that, comparing it to 10?
Yeah, so for 11, they knocked it out of the park as far as the gameplay goes. Comparing it to 10, 10 had some mechanics that weren't exactly well received by the fighting community, that just didn't seem well placed. For instance, they had a running system, and if you are in the fighting community at all, you know that that's always a point of contention, being able to run across the screen instead of just having like a dash system or so. And there were specific moves that kind of relied on you running, and it just never felt good. It never played well. It just wasn't the right answer. They've completely removed that from 11. There is no running system, and it's definitely for the benefit of the game. It definitely makes it feel better. It plays out better. Encounters are much more meaningful. The second-to-second combat, you can kind of zone people a little bit better. And in the space of that running mechanic, they've kind of added more long-range attacks that kind of take you across the screen. And so it just allows you to kind of vary up your play style a little bit more, and I think it's much, much better. Much smoother combat. Everything feels very good. They've also split up the, I think EX gauge is what it was called in X. I'm not 100% positive, but they've split up that gauge, so instead of just saving all of your saved up power or whatever to just do like a super move, you now have 3 separate bars. So you have a defense bar, you have an attack bar, and then you also have this final or fatal attack bar that I'll get into in a second. But the defense and attack bars can actually be used to modify your attacks. So, for instance, Scorpion's teleport. When he teleports behind somebody, if you use your ability modifier, which is right bumper or R1, that will actually modify the attack so he does an extra hit or so coming out of that. Now, what you lose from that is you lose one of your bars, and you have to regain that bar. So you can't just spam that stuff. It's not something you can go absolutely crazy with, but it kind of gives you that choice of, hey, should I spend this bar? Am I going to get a meaningful payoff from this? Or is this something I should save for later and use on a different attack or something? Same with the defense. You can use it for rollouts. You can use it for combo breakers. It just gives you a good variety of being able to use different things. And then the fatal hit bar is actually when your health gets very, very low. So it's in the bottom like 20% or so. Once per fight, you can actually use a super move that's going to fatally hurt somebody. So it does anywhere between, depending on character, 20 to 30% of their health in one attack. And in most cases, it's uninterruptible. It can be blocked, but it's a good removal of that old system from X that was just clunky, didn't feel well. And this gives you many more options and kind of varies up the combat so that every fight kind of feels different, plays different, and just feels good. So yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. I think it's very good.
All right. Would you say it's your favorite, just playing wise, is it your favorite Mortal Kombat?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that I still feel like X holds that crown for me for the time being, simply because 11 is just not very well balanced right now. There is a very clear skill gap on some of the characters where, you know, if you're playing anything other than the top 5 characters, you might as well not even play online at all. It's a pretty large gap in ability. So definitely going to give the crown to X here.
All right. You guys heard it here first. Mortal Kombat 11 is the worst fighting game ever. Go to Tekken 3 where Gon is. Gon for every fighting game ever.
Yeah, just go get Xbox Game Pass and you'll have the best Mortal Kombat ever, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's definitely on Game Pass.
Moving on, I'm just going to briefly talk about this. I'm just going to say I started playing The Witcher 3 for the first time this past weekend. I'm doing kind of like a kind of book club type thing with some people from the OK Beast community. A bunch of us that have never played The Witcher 3 decided to start. I'm not very far in. I've played maybe an hour. But so far it's cool. I think that the fighting mechanics are cool. It just seems a little too in-depth for what I'm wanting. Like, I don't want to have to sit there and craft shit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. I more prefer like the Assassin's Creed type, where generally speaking, I have everything I need at any given point in time. It's more like unlocking skills, whereas The Witcher is a lot more like like for instance, I got a side quest where I have to kill this thing. I forget what it's called. It has a weird name, but it's immune to my swords, so I have to like craft bombs. So it's like I have none of the materials or money to buy the materials to make bombs. So I don't know. It's just a little frustrating in that sense, but that's just a side quest. So it is what it is. I'm going to play it more, see if it sticks. But yeah, hopefully I'll be talking about that more in future podcasts.
All right. And
John, your last game.
Yeah, my last game. I just realized just how long we've been going on this section, so let's just hurry up here. World War Z. It's an awesome game. It's third person, Left 4 Dead. Play it. It is awesome. It's only $40. Great game. My favorite game to come out in 2019.
World War Z is another one of those games that I'm worried if I buy it now, it's going to be in Game Pass in like 5 months. See,
I would normally go with you on that, but they've been very successful. I don't think it's going to Game Pass for a bit. They recently announced that they passed over 1 million players and everything, and it's just been a very successful game.
Wasn't that metric in 1 week too? They crossed 1 million in 1 week.
It was within a week. So yeah, I mean, it would be awesome if they did, because just more players. But regardless, that's such a good game, and I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into it more. I've been on the fence about buying it, but... All right, let's get into news on what will probably be the longest podcast we've recorded to date.
Yeah.
Biggest news of the week is obviously the fact that Epic buys Rocket League developer Psyonix and strongly hints it'll stop selling the game on Steam. This article comes from Nick Stat on TheVerge.com. He writes, Fortnite creator Epic Games announced today that it's acquired the independent game development studio Psyonix, makers of the massively popular vehicular soccer game Rocket League. As a result of the deal, Psyonix says it will have access to more resources to support Rocket League's competitive esports league, and by late 2019 will bring the game to Epic's PC storefront. After that, it sounds like Rocket League will no longer be available on Valve's competing Steam store, although buyers of the Steam version can continue to play their existing copy of the game indefinitely and continue to receive support. Which Variety is reporting includes downloadable content, patches, and all other future content. This is very interesting. I don't know. How do you guys feel about this?
You can go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, sure. So I am somebody who's played way too much Rocket League. That game is just a blast. It's super, super fun. Personally, I think this is a great thing. I'm very excited to see what comes out of these guys. They're very good at updating a game on time, getting things patched and taken care of very quickly, and it's always quality stuff. So having the backing of somebody like Epic, I think, just lets them kind of achieve a new level that they probably haven't been able to achieve as an independent studio before. So I'm very excited to see where it goes. The only thing that concerns me is I wonder what happens to mod support and custom maps on Steam. If that goes away, if it comes off the Steam store, if that's going to be affected negatively, or if that's going to come to the Epic store, I guess it remains to be seen. But yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it only helps the game as well. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, I totally agree with you on it opening up new avenues for them, which is awesome. Like, I also have played a ton of Rocket League over the years, and it's probably one of my favorite indie games of all time. It's just brilliantly made, and although I do have some complaints with its microtransaction system, it is just a well put together game. I do wonder just where they go from here. Like, do they make Rocket League 2 for the next generation of consoles? What does that game even look like? Or do they just keep putting more into Rocket League? Do they just make more game modes? I mean, essentially, Epic, they've, with just the huge booming success that Fortnite gives them, they have, like, the most money in the world, not even counting in, like, their Unreal Engine royalties that they get from pretty much everyone.
Definitely.
So yeah, no, this is just amazing for Rocket League. I'm sure they'll be able to hire on tons of more developers if they want to. Just until they really make a big announcement, we don't know where it's going, but I mean, it only spells for really good things for them going forward. Maybe they try and do something a little different, like they might have a game in their back pocket that they've been wanting to make, but Rocket League's just so popular that they haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, I would love to see them do something different at this point. I think they've definitely proven their pedigree. This is actually their second in the line of car soccer games, I guess.
Yeah, the first super
acrobatic, rocket-powered battle cars.
Yeah, it rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, but I think that this is a great, I guess, pickup by Epic, because now they have essentially two of the largest, I guess, probably streamed and competitive games in recent memory.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Although I do kind of question, I mean, this is just kind of hinting at Rocket League being taken off Steam. I do question why even do that, because I look at this kind of like in the same way of Microsoft buying Minecraft, where they bought it and there were questions at the beginning like, oh, is Sony and Nintendo going to lose their access to the game? And Microsoft's like, no, like, this game's awesome. We want everyone to play it. And I just believe that, yeah, they did say that owners on Steam would still be able to access online and everything and be getting updates and everything. It just feels odd to me to just cut that off, like no more purchasing from there. But
well, I think that the reason they're doing it that way is because Epic just wants to bring people to their store. Like, because like they've been competing for months now with Steam on getting games over there.
Yeah, but Rocket League has been out for years. Mostly anyone that already has the game on PC is just playing it through Steam. You're not going to get... I don't think you get a ton more copies sold on Epic.
No, I completely agree. But if somebody's looking to buy Rocket League, they're going to have to go there.
Oh, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying it just doesn't make too much sense now. And in the end, it probably does come down to money. Like, why give Steam some money for every purchase when you just get all of it on your own store?
Yeah, I think that's essentially what it comes down to.
But from a player-based standpoint, I don't think it makes sense.
It is what it is. I already own the game everywhere, so
yeah,
it doesn't affect me.
It's brilliant.
I mean, it just gives me one more place to buy the game on my PC.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. A new Pokemon Pass app is dishing out free content for visiting Target. This is by Owen S. Good on Polygon. Pokemon fans can avail themselves of free Poke content for games like Pokemon Let's Go beginning this month. This is thanks to a new mobile app that checks them in at participating locations. The Pokemon Pass app for both iOS and Android is available right now. On May 11th, fans can use it to pick up a shiny Pikachu and a shiny Eevee for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Pokemon Let's Go Eevee when they head to their local Target. According to a news release, Pokemon Pass, which is free, will notify owners when they're at designated retail locations where they can pick up some freebies. They will need both the app and an account with the Pokemon Trainer Club. So anyone here gonna take advantage of that?
I mean, I might. I am a huge Pokemon fan, and I play Pokemon Go every day on my commute, so...
It sounded like this is only for Let's Go, though.
Yeah, I know, and I still have not beaten Let's Go, so maybe this will finally make me go back to it and finish it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty much in for anything Pokemon at this point. And I do go to Target a lot, so who knows? Who knows what the possibilities are?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure at some point a Pokemon Go thing it pops up on there. I mean, it's on phone. It just makes sense. I haven't played Let's Go in so long. I started it, and I'm like, okay, this is insanely too easy, and I've played Yellow billions of times when I was a kid. I'm like, this isn't scratching it for me. I'm just looking toward Sword and Shield. But I mean, if I'm in the area, I might just grab it and show it off to my daughter.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. What about you, Connor?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely something. It's all free. I mean, go get the Pokemon. My fiance loves Target, and they're all the time anyway. So I'll definitely be picking them up for sure. I wonder, though, it seems like a lot of trouble to go through for just free Pokemon. I wonder if maybe this could serve as a Pokemon Bank replacement in the future, as I don't think that functionality is included in the Let's Go games, where you can kind of transfer Pokemon.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they don't have that yet, which I'm assuming they're going to add at some point, some sort of Pokemon Bank. So yeah, it's possible that this is it.
I really think that would be an amazing thing to add to the Nintendo Switch online, or that Nintendo Switch app. Like, really.
Like the service?
Yeah, like, that's all there is on there right now is playing online, talking with other people, and then they added in the Super Smash Brothers, like, user-made maps thing on there. Like, something like this would be an amazing addition for that, or just the Pokemon Bank, like you were saying, like, that would be an amazing addition for that.
For sure.
Yep, I agree, but we will see what the future holds. Connor, tell us about what Phil Spencer said.
Yeah, so Phil Spencer, the messiah of Xbox, has tweeted on Twitter, congrats to Project xCloud team for completing their take-home release. Excited to get feedback from our internal teams ahead of public trials later this year. So this is really indicative of them making some serious progress on Project xCloud, and that's great to see. I mean, they've been pretty full steam ahead with this, and I think this is really just telling that we're going to see some bigger news on this very soon. Most likely E3, but maybe something even sooner, some kind of little teaser or tidbit. I'm very excited to see what they come out with here, as this is really promising.
So what do you guys take from this? Is it just essentially saying that they're now capable for themselves to take it home and play it, try it out?
Oh, yeah. Phil Spencer has actually been playing on his phone for months now. He plays like Forza and all that. I mean, this is just kind of another step. They're just kind of getting it out there a little more. If I don't really think we hear anything on this before E3. If we do, it's a leak or something. That's something someone was not supposed to let out. But
one thing I've noticed on my Xbox is that they have started. I'm in the Alpha Insider program.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got an update, I think last week, that now it tells you if I look through my friends list, it tells me what console people are playing on. So for everybody, it just doesn't show a symbol. But if I had a bunch of friends playing Sea of Thieves on their PCs yesterday, it shows a PC there. And I had a friend on the Mixer app on his phone, and it showed a little cell phone. So I think that they're doing that to be like, hey, this person is playing, on xCloud on their phone or something like that.
I wonder if they would include Minecraft on Switch, just like having a little Switch thing there.
Yeah, especially with that Xbox integration, that would be awesome to see.
Yeah, no, that would be really cool. No, this is exciting stuff. Ever since Stadia was announced, we've just heard things about how confident Phil Spencer is in xCloud, which just, that gets me even more excited. Phil Spencer is, I mean, this dude, he's just something else, right? Like,
it's gonna be sad when he retires.
Hopefully that's not anytime soon, because I have loved everything he has done since he took over. And
yeah, I mean,
as have I.
We're basically seeing another Reggie Fils-Aimé in making here. This guy is an industry icon at this point that's just championing progress for the entire industry, not just Xbox. And he's made some great calls. So yeah, definitely excited to see anything that he's excited about.
Yeah, you are absolutely on with that.
But stay tuned here for the future, and I'm sure we're going to be talking a bunch more about Project xCloud come E3 time. At least I certainly hope so. Moving on, we have today we had the Borderlands 3 gameplay reveal. Yeah, I don't know. Did any of you guys see any of this?
I was working today, so I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to catch up on too much of it. I did see some of the big news that came from it. But it was a pretty interesting sneak peek. Seems like the game's fully playable. They let people get a 90-minute live stream demo for influencers that was totally unguided. They didn't tell them where to go, what to do. They just let them jump into the world and play around. So seems like we're really in the polishing phase, and that's exciting. hearing some good feedback on it.
Yeah, I didn't really see any of it either, but everything I've read on Twitter has been pretty positive overall. One thing I do want to note is that Randy Pitchford here, his Twitter is like blowing up right now because of an article. Hold on, I gotta scroll down.
Did he do more magic?
Oh, man.
No, he he's getting some controversial stuff again here.
Oh boy,
He just can't stay out of the news.
I just pulled it up, and this thread is on 18 posts.
Yeah, so and those 18 have happened since we started because I did not see those when I copied that into the doc. But anyway, okay, here we go.
Oh,
so Game Informer earlier posted an article. This was 7 hours ago during the stream, I believe. And the title says, despite Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford's comment about no microtransactions, that's in quotation marks, in Borderlands 3 during today's live stream, we've been told cosmetic items are still purchasable. To which Randy replied, come on guys, shitty clickbait headline. Literally seconds before I said that, I made it very clear we're going to do more cosmetic stuff like we did in Borderlands 2. You know I was talking about premium currency and loot boxes kind of stuff not being in our game. And then he keeps going on and he says, why you guys would fuck me on this is beyond me. Thanks a lot. And then he went through and everybody who was bashing him, Randy was replying. So like somebody said, how about releasing remasters and HD upgrades of your PC? Hold on, no, not that one. Ignore that. Hold on, let me scroll through.
Yeah, I mean, I think Randy just needs to take a back seat. He's really not in a good place right now, as far as being in the public eye, and this just kind of seems a continuation of that narrative. This to me, it doesn't seem like Game Informer is in the wrong here. I think that we're in a place in the industry where stuff like this needs to be clarified because the waters are so muddy, and him taking offense to this is just weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I can't find him right now, but he might have deleted them. But what he started doing is finding everybody that was tweeting, like quote tweeting that Game Informer article that was saying like Randy Pitchford's a liar or something. He was like commenting on that and like, see at Game Informer, you have the ability to make these people stop hating me right now, but you're not. Like he was like calling them out, saying like take down the article, like it's clickbait, like explain it better. I don't know.
Like really,
but I agree with Game Informer though. Like I still think that is technically microtransactions.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, it is. It's just not loot boxes. I mean, I didn't. This isn't the first time I'm hearing about this. Like I said, I was working earlier. But Randy Pitchford, man, like you say one thing to them. You say, hey, get in contact with me so we can talk about this offline or something, and let's get this ironed out. Like even Andy McNamara, who is the editor-in-chief for Game Informer, he's like, tell me what in the story is wrong and we will correct it. Give us a statement. I want accurate reporting, but we are allowed to have a view and an opinion, and I have tried to clearly lay out our stance. Like, that was a perfect response for Andy. And Pitchford goes on a rant for seriously 18 tweets in this thread. And I'm not reading all of it because, oh my God. But, like, dude, just, you don't need more public attention. like between this and the USB thing and magic during the Borderlands reveal, like, it's kind of dampening down just Borderlands 3 overall.
Definitely.
I think. And
like I get it. Randy runs the show. We all know it. All right, take a step back, Randy.
You gotta
Let
wonder
somebody
though.
else step
At
up.
this point, if you're Epic, how long do you let this go on? How long do you just stay silent on this? And how much longer till Epic really just steps in and says, "Hey, you need to take a back seat or chill out or something"? Because this guy's a train wreck. I mean, he's not going in a good direction.
It's bringing them all bad publicity right now.
Right.
Yeah.
On a day that Borderlands should be being praised, like today when they had the gameplay reveal, everybody's just talking about this Randy Pitchford stuff. Like here we go. So on Twitter, Andy McNamara quote tweeted his Game Informer's tweet saying, "In my opinion, you can't say no microtransactions when there's microtransactions and then be angry we made a tweet focusing on that angle. Apologies, you don't like the despite, and then he added Randy Pitchford. It clarifies what we feel is a misleading comment, which the story lays out clearly. And then Randy replied, I cannot believe that your response here is to double down on an implication made in the tweet that I was being misleading. So he just keeps going on, and he goes, you guys called me a liar. And then he's like, no one called you, and then Andy says, no one called you a liar. We are saying the message is confusing, and we wrote a story to clarify it. Yeah. I don't know. This is just
this. At this point, stuff like this, I just think he likes the attention. Like, that's all this really is. I'm just,
and honestly, the bummer thing about the bummer thing about the entire situation is, microtransactions can be a good thing. There have been companies that have proved that model works and can work for the consumer, and that's all that was needed here. Just Randy saying, "Hey, okay, yes, I'm sorry, I was wrong. We do have microtransactions, but they're strictly cosmetic. We will not be pay to win. Everything will be in your benefit. The prices will be good. Just give the people the good information and move on with your life." I don't think that any of this was needed. It's so unnecessary.
Part of this makes me feel like Randy pitched to Epic. He's like, no, we're not going to say it's microtransactions and it'll be fine. And then they're like, all right, fine, Randy, we'll let you do it. And then now this article comes out and he's like blowing up trying to defend himself.
He's working that signature Randy magic right now is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes him look really bad and really childish to come in here and tweet 18 tweets in a row to respond. So I'm excited to see how this plays out in the next few days.
Oh boy, I'm over it. Okay.
Moving on, let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. What do you guys think about it?
I'm horrified.
All right. Well, first let's get a little explanation in here. So, a couple days ago, I don't know if there was a leak or if it was an official, but we got to see Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik for the first time, and there were people pretty upset at that, I think, because it was just Jim Carrey with a mustache. But then we got the trailer yesterday, and let me say, Jim Carrey, I'm down for what he's doing as Dr. Robotnik so far.
Yeah, I think if anybody can pull it off, it's him.
Yeah, I'm also just a huge Jim Carrey fan. I've loved him since I was a kid. I think he's hilarious, and it's just going to be really fun seeing him play Dr. Robotnik. And it seems like he kind of starts out normal-ish, definitely an egotistical jerk, but it kind of looks like, from what we see later on in the trailer, that he definitely goes into this descent into madness because Sonic probably beats him at everything in this movie. I tweeted on our Twitter yesterday. I was like, okay, yeah, Jim Carrey is Eggman, cool. Maybe the story will be passable. Probably not, but maybe. But man, Sonic the Hedgehog, like, the more I see that design, I hate it. It's so bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got a ton of fans out there just reworking everything. I'm pretty sure there's a picture that we've got up on the Twitter page right now that shows somebody's rework. And it is astonishing how bad, when you compare it to something that could be good, how bad their actual work is. It just doesn't look good. I'm worried. I'm very concerned.
Oh, yeah. No, from everything we've seen so far, like, it's not Sonic. Like, this isn't what Sonic looks like. Like, he has had this design for almost 30 years. And the image I put up last night is that guy's rework, and it's a very closer thing. He doesn't have gloves still. He has white hands, but it's very close. It's as close as you can get with what he was given. He pulled that off hours after the trailer released. Sega, who is it working on? Paramount, I think. Whoever is actually making the movie, like, they've had probably over a year now with this design, and they're just okay with it. Like, it doesn't look good at all.
Yeah, part of me wishes I could see all the other designs that were proposed for him that they turned down.
Right? Yeah, no, that would be a really interesting
that this was
thing.
the best option that they decided to go with.
Yeah, because something like this, it's not just one person making the decision. You're going through tons of different designs and everything. But, like, who sees this and they're like, oh, yeah, that's Sonic the Hedgehog. That looks good. Like, and just imagine if they had Tails or Knuckles in here, just how bad they would look as well.
Oh, no.
Right?
Have you seen those tweets that people have been posting?
There's
like a really bad taxidermied fox and some good tails.
I think I've seen that one. It's good.
But yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan. Like, Mario was where I started my gaming, but Sonic definitely helped propel me through the 90s as well. And as just for this to be, this kind of feels like the Mario Brothers movie in a way, and that's not a good thing.
No, absolutely not. That's something that nothing should ever be compared to.
No, but hopefully we're all wrong, and when November comes around, it's actually a decent movie, but it doesn't look great right off at the beginning here.
Yeah, it's definitely not something I'll see in theaters, but I'll definitely watch at some point in my life.
Agreed.
All right.
Moving on, John. Bring us to the topic of the show.
Okay, so we got our very first, I don't know how you would say this, commenter request for a topic of the show. This is from my aunt, actually. On our Facebook page, she said, would Toy Story be an okay topic? And I figured, hey, why not? We're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Let's talk about Toy Story 4. So recently, probably sometime last month, we got an actual trailer for Toy Story 4, and just want to talk about that real quick. Like, just kind of seeing like your guys' thoughts on Toy Story 4. Like, should it exist, and really, what are your expectations for it?
I did not see the trailer for the movie, but I know it's something I'll see regardless, so I'm not too concerned. I'm not like hyped for the movie or anything, but I'm sure I'll see it when it comes out in theaters.
Yeah, I got a chance to see it. Toy Story holds a very special place in my heart. It definitely came at a important period in my life, and I think it's a very good series, but boy, do I feel like we shouldn't have a fourth one. That is a stance that I have, and you're welcome to dissect it.
I could not agree with you anymore. I'm in the same boat as you. I grew up with Toy Story. 1, 2 were brilliant. 3 is probably the best third entry in anything ever. And that was the absolute perfect way to end the series on. And
yeah,
the moment I heard there was a fourth one, I was disappointed. It's going to be a good movie still. I mean, this is it's still Disney and Pixar. All the original cast is coming back. Like, it's going to be a good movie, but man, is it disappointing.
It's such a big franchise that they're not going to just stop.
But if they did, it would just be so much better.
I think there's a lot of space in that universe, too, for some spin-offs to follow some other characters.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think that's what they could use to really keep it revived. But at this point, these characters are tired. I just don't see the meaning.
I think I could see a Toy Story refresh where they just have completely different, kind of toys,
or they
in a different scenario.
Yeah, or they could just like do kind of what they were doing for a while. They're just like little shorts, and with that, you could bring in new toys and everything. It doesn't always have to be Tim Allen or Tom Hanks. I'm disappointed to see it, but after seeing the trailer, it does look pretty funny. So Bonnie, who is all of the toys' new owner, she comes home with an arts and craft project called Forky. It's just a spork with googly eyes on it, and it's a preschooler making something. And since he is now a toy, he's brought to life, and he has this. He's very adamant about being thrown away because he's not a toy. He's a piece of utensil that should be used and thrown away. So I kind of am super excited to kind of see just like a suicidal toy, essentially. And I think that's going to be really funny. Have you guys ever seen the movie Igor?
No.
Okay, so it is. I'm not sure who made it, but it's a kid movie about Igor. Like a henchman to like Frankenstein and all that. Hunchback guy. So he in this movie he is also a scientist himself, and he wants to be a scientist. So what he does is he creates a robot named Brian.
Is this the movie with the cat?
It's a rabbit, I think.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do know what you're talking about. Continue.
Okay. So he makes a machine called Brian, puts a brain in it, but the brain is dumb. Or no, his name is Brain, and he writes Brian on his glass because he can't spell brain. And then he also gives immortality juice to a rabbit that is suicidal. So the entire movie, the rabbit is just trying to commit suicide, but he can't. And I thought it was absolutely hilarious, and I kind of hope to see something like that in this movie.
And then, so I imagine at the end of Toy Story 4, this Spork is just going to find purpose in life.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, probably. Or maybe he gets torn apart or something. I have no idea. It's just really interesting that they are trying new things with the series, because we haven't seen them, like, handle arts and crafts that were, like, made in the toys. Like, it's at least... They're at least bringing new ideas to the table, so I'll give them that. Definitely still, though, think that it shouldn't exist. But expectations are still high because it's a Pixar movie.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the money there. It's going to be a good movie. It's going to be something you can watch. I'm sure it's going to be enjoyable. But again, I just can't escape the feeling that maybe we should have finished it with the third one. And I think that'll probably be the feeling most people have when it comes down to it.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Well, with that brings us to the end of episode 58 of the Pixel Street Podcast. As always, send us in topics like the Toy Story 4 one at pixelstreetpodcast@gmail.com. Send them to our Twitter at Pixel Street Pod, or our Facebook by searching Pixel Street Podcast. You can get our show every Friday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. CDT, I don't know. I never know the difference. I don't know which is which, but 8 a.m. Chicago time on your podcast platform of choice, as well as the Almost Random YouTube channel and the Facebook page. You can find me on Twitter at Campos63, as well as check out my Mixer, mixer.com/Campos63. I'm like 5 followers away from hitting 600, so check that out. John, where can we find you?
On Twitter, I am at RevexShadows. On YouTube, you can find my channel at youtube.com/JohnJW92 or search Revex Shadows. I recently put up a hour-long interview I did with the head of Knock Knock Games, who just released a mobile game called Uprising. So definitely give that a look. And yeah, that's it.
And Connor, where can we find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter as at XBRCH, that's Birch _ find me on there for all kinds of weird retweets and stuff. Other than that, I'm pretty low radar. Looking to start streaming here pretty soon. Just chilling.
Yeah. Right on. We'll be right here next week for episode 59 of the Pixel Street Podcast. Also next week, I'm going to have Austin Stark. I'm going to talk to him a bit about a product he invented called the Switch Fix. So that'll probably be like a 10-15 minute interview I'll just tack on to it. That'll probably just be the topic of the show next week.
All right.
But yeah, stay tuned for next week for episode 59.
Bye.
See you later.